This is Chippercon, and welcome to the Otherworldly show, which is keeping the Changing Times, Changing Worlds conference going all year long, covering divination, magic, complementary alternative healing, ghosts, and other supernatural and spiritual practice. If it's called supernatural, paranormal, metaphysical, or occult, well, we figure it's time to bring it out of the occult part and share it. I am Chippercon, your host, and tonight I have Carol Gader, who is, I believe, a luminary. She may not think so. Why is it on here instead of me? There. And from the American Dowsers Society, here tonight, and she has taught dowsing for health, cool, at Changing Times, Changing Worlds in the past. Which Dowsing Your Health, see, that is a book that she did, which we'll cover a little bit later. But the American Dowsers Society, one of my favorite quotes about dowsing, has said that 90% of adults can accurately dowse the first time they're shown how to do it, and 100% of children. And dowsing last week, Starwolf, and during the previous discussion, Starwolf had mentioned that dowsing was one of the most universally useful tools that we have. Starwolf, do you remember what it was that we were talking about, you were thinking at that time?
We were talking about specifically sensing the energies in chakras. Whether they were moving fast enough, whether they were not moving, whether they were moving in the wrong directions, which can be really weird, but I've seen that.
Yeah.
So that's what, once again, it's my main diagnostic tool when I'm doing energy work on people. The crystals come later, once I figured out what I need to do. It's kind of the equivalent of plugging your car into the jack so they can read the computer readouts.
Yeah,
I just suddenly had this.
It's like a stethoscope. So,
Yeah.
I suddenly had this instinct that dowsing is like equipping yourself with an antenna to make it easier to pick up the energies.
Yep.
Okay. Now.
It's one of the simplest tools to make and to use. So it's just that everybody, it's gotten such a bad or a comic rep in media that it's hard to find people who listen to you.
Okay. I want to introduce Carol with actually having her face up. There we go. Hi, Carol. It's nice to see you again. Thank
goodness. Nice to see you too. It's been a long time since I've seen you in person.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's been a long time since we've seen anybody in person.
True.
But
yep.
Yeah, so this is just something that we should make sure that everybody has access to this wonderful tool. And one of the tools, now we were talking pendulums, because I keep one in my lady pocket. I don't know if anybody else calls between their boobs and their bra the lady pocket, but that's how I think of mine. I carry it everywhere. Starwolf has a pocket.
No, Starwolf basically wears enough stuff around his neck that I have 2 or 3 pendulums available at any one time. This is the one I prefer. It's my go-to when I don't have one of my fancier ones, most of which tend to be in various kits.
And but aside from pendulums, I do want Carol, can you show one of the L rods? Because that's probably the second most popular thing right now.
Also easy ones to make too.
Yes, that's true. Very easy to make with the old-fashioned coat hangers. The new ones are plastic, but
bingo.
The old wire ones, you can make yourself one very easily. I have rubber tips so that if they hit you, they're not gonna make a bruise.
There, there.
These are very heavy. So they don't blow around in the wind, and that's what I like. And the handles, so they turn, they're very, very sensitive. Turn very easy.
And the collar, I guess they have on them is this is mine. You see,
Yep.
this is cut out of a coat hanger.
Piping that you get at
And
the
you take the coat
hardware
hanger,
store.
you cut it off, and here's a soda straw. And according to the story as I have heard it, and then when I'm putting it away, I will stick each into their soda straw so that they're locked together and I don't lose pieces. But the story as I've heard it is these were invented in Vietnam, which may be for many people a long time ago, but it's, you know, it was just when I was in school, so it doesn't seem that long ago to me. And they used them to detect tiger traps and landmines. And they went to they got the wire hangers that their breast uniforms were on, and the straws from the PX, and they just used that and kept people alive. And of course, then they came home and we all started making them and using them all over the, because they're so good. Carol, can you hold yours up so that you can show people how they work?
Okay, I just hold them. I'm backing up a little so that you can see. I just hold them in front of me. Some people, it crosses, like I use them for finding water and finding underground things. I use them for direction of the water flow, or if I need to find something, it will just go and point at it. But mine, when I get to the source, they open up this way and show me, or they'll open up on an angle showing me which way the tributary is flowing. So that's the way mine are, but everybody is a little different, and usually your higher self will tell you which way, and you can program your higher self also how would be easiest for you, which I have done. The old way took me forever with a pendulum, and so I can mention that if you want later. But I love the L rods. I try to keep them somewhere where I can grab them because I'm always losing stuff, you know, and that's bad.
And I don't do as much with the water, but I do a lot of looking for people, the edge of people's aura. How big a space do you have around you? And I look for holes and auras and things like that.
How big a space?
Yeah.
Well, depend on which layer of aura I'm trying to find. If it's their very close, intimate space, or whether it's their kind of personal space, which is usually out anywhere from 18 inches to 6 feet. But I use these for that because it's very visual and it will open right up at the edge of their aura. And sometimes we'll beam light at the person and show how much expands. And then I usually have my students do it. And then I check it because they get so excited, you know, doing it.
That's the great thing about these. The plastic collar on it makes it sure that you're not turning them yourself. You know that you're not doing it.
That's right.
And I remember an interesting experience back in the Heart Song days that Jen mentioned, where she was dowsing, and I think we were poking around trying to find out how big each person's aura was. And apparently mine is gigantic because
it was energy bodies.
energy bodies. Okay.
And I typically started with the third one and went in, and we would check each one for holes as well. And I would down your body to see where the holes were.
Yes,
But
mine just goes in where the holes are, so that
Exactly.
you know, oh, it's here.
But that's when I
Everybody's
first
different,
learned.
but yeah.
Apparently,
And after doing
I'm
that, I'll check to keep any leaks from happening. I'll keep any leaks from happening, and then I will douse with a pendulum as he lays down. I'll douse his chakras and fix them.
But that's when I first learned that I was apparently what they call a large energy creature. That I have one of these room-sized energy bodies. So was a really strange experience, but that
Can
was,
I ask you a
just-
question?
Sure.
Because your energy body is so large, do you get hit by other people's energy? Do you have to constantly
Mm.
clear it? What
I
happens?
don't, they bounce off.
Okay, okay.
He also is very much a hermit. We're a married couple here.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
We're in two
I
different rooms.
I really don't
idea.
have, yeah, I don't really go
Yeah.
out to where, but when I do interact, well, I know that I've had very conventional and mundane things said to me that also apply to a large energy body. Like back in 1968, when I first went to college, I was taking public speaking. And that was my first introduction to the concept of you walk into a room and you kind of take over it. And I think that's just the energy body going out there, because the teacher said I just had and when I speak, people listen. And again,
They do. He's frequently told he's a charismatic speaker.
And I know I
Nice.
am from experience. And I attribute that to the energy body, but that also does speak of higher chakras being more tuned and in power than the lower ones, which should give me energy to get out of bed in the morning. But I have become aware of that. And I said, okay, that's me. I did not realize that.
No.
Yeah, in fact, she was using the L rods on me that time. And it was like,
Bill, it's also that you tend to talk a lot. So,
yeah,
so
which is
let's get back onto what we were
right.
we were saying. Carol, since could I get you to give a little bit of the background theory, because you probably have a better spiel on it than I do.
I'm not sure about that, but I'll give you my theory. And if you ask 100 different people, it would probably be 100 different versions. But I think they all kind of converge to a similarity. But here's my version. When people ask me about dowsing, everything has energy. Even a stone has energy, a tree, we have energy. And you say yours is way out here. And what we're doing with dowsing is we are fine tuning to the energy of that thing that we are searching for. Now, let's relate it to a radio station or a TV station. You turn the dial and you want the music. And do you turn to news or do you turn to talk show? No, you turn the dial specifically to what you want. And so when you're learning to dowse, the most important thing that you realize is you need to tune into, in the third eye, the energy of the very thing you are looking for. And I was dowsing for a lot of things, but not particularly water. Water was not, I was more of a healer into that kind of thing. But I kept getting asked to dowse water, and I didn't particularly want to dowse water. And a wonderful man, Jim Lynn, said, and why not? You get paid well for finding wells. And so the next job I got, he said, you take it and I'll come. Well, I did, and I went there and he wouldn't do it. He made me do it, and then he checked it. And you know, the guy got the water exactly where I said, which surprised me because I have never done this kind of dowsing. And he told some other farmer friends, and pretty soon I was getting calls. And my friend who went with me was always busy, so I had to do it by myself. And so I was a little reluctant, but now I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of wells. And in Florida, the water is an aquifer. So most time they just dig a hole and there the water comes up. That's why there's so many lovely lakes and ponds down here. And I do get calls occasionally from northern Florida because they're in tributaries. And from New England, you know that they're in a tributary, sometimes small, sometimes as wide as the room or your house. But if you don't find that tributary, and so you have to fine tune your thoughts, and you can't just think any water, because if I said, show me the water, you'll see it's going right over to my kitchen sink. And that's not what I want. Or if you're outside, it could go to a little polluted puddle. So that's what I'm talking about. Fine tooth. The most important thing you ever do in dowsing is to specify exactly what you are looking for. That's the only way it works, because you have to tune in to that frequency. So for me with water, I say, you know, I have to have water that is willing to come for this house, that is at least 6 to 7 or more gallons per minute, is fairly close, the closest to the surface, that is clean, portable, not have to be filtered, and all this stuff. And that's what I find. I usually do it before I go. Is there water that's clean and would be willing to come? Because there's nothing more embarrassing to get on someone's land and tell them they have no water. So now I'm telling people, even before you buy the land, you call me and I will check. I don't charge much for that. I check from home. But to answer your question again, I don't want to get off either. My version, yes. It's like a fine-tooth radio or a TV show. Who would have ever thought we could turn into Fox or CNN and get all that information from California or from Mexico or from Germany or Africa? It goes through the air, and so does an energy. All energy is in the air, all bombarding each other. And so what you're trying to find, you have to fine tune it, state what you're looking for, take your rods, and there it is. My version.
Oh. And I just remembered that I had collected some pictures, if I can remember how to share the screen, to share with people, just some pictures I collected about dowsing. There we go. And let's see if I can. Is that showing? Yeah, okay, I think that that's what's going on there. Now, can people see that? I'm not sure.
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, can you hear me?
yes.
Yeah, I just got the internet just told me I was unstable. This is a kind of old picture of somebody with the ill traditional Y-shaped rod. Here's another picture, much more recent, of someone probably doing water dowsing, because you need water to live. Here is a picture of pendulums, L rods, the Y rods, and the bobber. This is a picture of people using a chart to figure out how, so that the pendulum can make a choice of multiple choices, which is what you see in Carol's book when you're trying to narrow down your diagnosis for healing. This is where you cut to make your own L rods. And as you can see, it's fairly simple. You take a wire hanger, you make one short and one long, and then you slip the plastic straw over the short one.
Mm.
Cut the plastic straw so that it's the same length. I think people can figure that out on their own.
And there seems to be a lot of
Map dowsing.
how you put how the straw fits into the bend there, because I've had some that they didn't turn properly.
Yeah. Then there's map dowsing, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but I'm just running through these quickly so we can get back to talking. Here's another gentleman who's, as you can see, his is a lot more pointy. There's a lot of variation. It probably depended on what you were able to find. This one I particularly like, because if you look here where it says A, there is a gentleman, this is not a picture of someone dowsing as such. This is a picture of a mining operation in the Middle Ages. And they have a dowser there to tell them in which direction to dig. Because if you're doing everything with a pickaxe and a shovel, you don't want to waste that energy. And he tells you which direction to dig in. So I love that picture. Now let's see, how do I get out of stopping sharing? There we go. But I just wanted to share those with people because there's some wonderful images in it. And having then covered that, that does get us back to probably the most important point that Carol was making, which is getting the question right. Whether you are saying, when you're in a mining operation, you don't want to be shown where the water is. and when you are in a, and you don't want to be shown the wrong water. You have to, actually, why don't I go to Chattery for a minute? You have to get the right question. And since the convenient to carry around with you thing is the pendulum, I have found the big mistake I see people making a lot is the first thing you do is you grab your pendulum and you say, especially when you're starting, you say, show me a yes, and you give it a chance to decide. And then you say, can you show me a yes? And this, and for me, it goes back and forth, away from, to and from me. And thank you very much. I always say thank you. And then I say, show me a no. And then it starts going side to side. For me, many people have it go counterclockwise, clockwise for yes, counterclockwise for no. When you're beginning, start by saying, show me a yes, show me a no. The next very important thing is to make sure that you don't ask it questions that you think it's a yes or a no, and it can't tell whether it's a yes or a no. You can't say, is this good for me? Is it going to hurt me? You've just given it both options at once. I think dowsing is a wonderful thing in this day and age of multiple allergies and triggers. You can go to your hostess's party and you don't have to ask her what all the ingredients are in and are your eggs organic. You can just say, is this safe for me to eat? Or you could say, is this going to cause a reaction? But make sure in your head which one you've asked, because I don't know, along with the gray hairs comes a little bit of frizziness inside the brain too. And sometimes by the time I get the answer, I've forgotten how I phrased the question. So I have programmed it so that the yes for me answer is always the safe answer, and the no answer is always the don't do it answer. Is that, did I miss anything really important with that, Carol?
Well, let's say that it goes on an angle and doesn't give you a yes or a no. So then you think, what's this about? Well, usually there isn't an answer or a definitive answer there. And so I would say to just rephrase the question.
Yes.
If you still don't get an answer, you might say, is there an answer to this question? Perhaps there isn't. Or maybe I'm not supposed to be dowsing this particular question.
Oh,
If you're working with someone else, I get permission always, and it isn't always feasible to get permission. If I can, I get it from them. But let's say you're dowsing something and they don't understand dowsing. You go to their higher self and you ask permission of their higher self. 99% of the time you'll get a yes. Now, if you get a no, just let it go. You don't know why. I have had that happen a few times, very rare. So does that answer?
Yeah, I think so.
Reword
I
the
always go
question.
to ask you whether you asked it correctly. I do tend to, I don't know, a lot of people don't, but I tend to, I don't know, there's anthropomorphize or awaken my dowsing tools. And I often give them names. So,
Well, here's another thing that
yeah.
sometimes can happen.
But you don't, oh yeah,
The mind goes faster than you can imagine. So if you're asking a question, let's say, should I eat the ice cream? It probably will be no, But let's say your mind is somewhere else. Should I eat the ice cream? And you're thinking something else. The watermelon you had yesterday, and you get a yes. So sometimes your mind is not focused totally, like you're saying, as you get older, and you find it harder to focus. You've got to, I told my husband, if I can't focus anymore, I'm done. Because I'm dealing with people's lives and things. And if I can't focus, I'm not going to give them answers. So I think it's, and our mind goes faster than we can douse. So your mind may be on the next question and you're still dowsing the question before. That happens to me too. So you have to slow the mind down and focus on the one question you're asking. I think that's important to remember, and we can be thinking about that meat we forgot to take out of the freezer for dinner tonight, if we're not a vegetarian, instead of thinking, should I or not?
One technique that I use sometimes is to write it down. If you
That's very good.
If you write it down, that helps you concentrate, and then you can keep your finger on it, and then you can go, you have a list of questions, and then you can just run down them, but the one you're pointing at is the one you're on, and that can help keep it focused.
That's right.
But don't go into any liminal spaces. Don't try and douse unless you're going to say, did I leave my glasses in this room, or did I leave my glasses in that room? Avoid dowsing in liminal spaces. Which is like doorways and things like that. You
wouldn't get an answer to that because you said, did I leave it in this place or that? Which one are you focusing on? I don't know if you're meaning this one or if you're meaning that one. And neither does your higher self. You never get an answer.
You could always ask, answer as a yes if this room, and the answer is a no if that room.
That's right. That's what you have to do. Thank you. That's
get
what you do.
the question specific. That is probably the most important thing you have to teach. The thing is that this is such a good method. It is so cool to teach somebody because they can immediately use it and it'll immediately work for them. And the next thing you have to teach them is it's a tool for giving you more information. It is not a tool for making your decisions for you.
Right.
Don't give up your power to the little gadget in your hand. You still have to take responsibility for your own choices. You can say, am I going to get a rash from this? Is different than, should I eat this or not?
Well, you can ask, is this the best for my highest good? I use that all the time. Ever since I heard the Aborigine prayer, I use, is this good, the best for my higher self? Maybe it's not. I would like to do it, but is it really the best for my higher self? Probably not, but I still have the choice. I might do it anyway, especially when it comes to ice cream. It's not the best for my highest good, but I like it, so I'm going to do it anyway. But you're right, you don't want to give your power away.
But people get very excited when they discover how well it works. It's kind of fun to teach it to a class of a dozen people, of whom 10 of them had never done it before, and they all discover they can do it. that is so exciting.
It is.
Star Wolf, have you taught
Yes.
classes on this? I think you have.
Yes, I have many times. A lot of them at changing times.
Yeah.
But yes, I do really enjoy watching the light bulb go on over their heads. Though I have discovered one thing: if you're teaching a class in dowsing, and you're looking for water. Don't do it next to the Connecticut River. I did that once at a science fiction convention, and as opposed to pointing at the cup of water I had to represent what they were looking for, everything kept pointing out the room. That's because we had the Connecticut River quarter-mile away on the other side of the highway.
And they hadn't learned to focus yet.
No, this was a bunch of people at a science fiction convention. Most of them were, this was like day 2, so most of them focus. You must be kidding.
God, after the first night of drinking, yeah.
Yeah, and the 4th or 5th Red Bull.
Yeah.
So what other are important? Yeah, oh, another thing that if it's not working, do check and make sure that you are centered and grounded. That you're not dehydrated. You might need a glass of water. Remedy your problem, relax, rest, centered, drink. If you are stressed, it may not be working as well because you may not be in touch with your higher self at that point.
So the best question to ask there is this a good time for me to douse? I have people call me in the evening, it's kind of late and I'm kind of tired. So I douse, is this a good time for me? Am I focused enough? Am I got enough energy? If not, I'll tell them. I had a girl today wanted me to douse very important things for her. And I said, I have no time till the weekend, so I'm going to do it then. But I just would be too scattered right now, probably.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to try. I mean, for her, I can do it for me because I'm focused enough for me. But to do for her, life or death stuff, I'm not going to do it.
Now, I know that you have said that you use dowsing to work in your garden. And I do want to cover some of the many wonders of dowsing. How do you use it in your garden?
Well, that's how I got started. Actually, with dowsing, I had a housekeeper who was taking a class by Michelle Wright, who wrote Gardening with Nature Intelligence. And it was so fascinating that I got the book. And she worked with me and she tried to teach me how to douse with my fingers. You can douse with your body. You can douse all kinds of ways. But this was with your fingers and I couldn't get it. I just couldn't get it. So then she showed me a pendulum and she showed me how to douse and right away I got it. I still haven't gone back to the fingers. I'll use my whole body sometimes if I don't want to, if I'm out somewhere and I happen to, usually I have this with me all the time.
Oh, talk
gardening.
Talk about deviceless dowsing.
Sure.
That's what I'll do in the grocery store. I will use the body dowsing. So talk about that.
Well, I like examples. So I wanted to find a certain honey mustard with a little tang that had raspberry in it. I'd had some before. So I went to all the mustards. There was a whole wall of mustards. And I looked at the top 2 shells. And I said, is it on those shells? I didn't use my pendulum. I would stand with my feet apart. So my body is the pendulum. And I would ask, is it on the top 2 shells? And it would throw me back. It means no. Is it on the bottom 2 shells? No. Is it in the middle 4 shells? Yes. Is it in these 2 shells? No. Is it in these 2? Yes. Is it on this one? Yes. Is it in this section? No. Is it in this section? No. Is it in that section? Yes. So I go and stand in front of that section. And then there may be 8 items in that section and I go through each one in my mind. I never have to, I just look at it. And if it pulls me forward, that's it. If it doesn't, and I kept going, and I finally found it. And we've been using that for years and we love it. And now I'm down here and they don't make it. I tried something else and they don't make that. So I got to go through the whole process again. But that's called deviceless dowsing. Should I go over and talk to that person on the other side? Would they on the room? Would they receive me? For young people, especially guys who want to ask a girl to dance. She sees all these girls standing on the opposite side of the room. He looks at each one, and then no, they would not dance with me. And he sees one, she's really cute. Would she dance with me? Yes. Then he walks over there with confidence and he says, Debbie, would you dance with me, if he knows her name? And she turns around and said, I'd love to. And he doesn't go through all that rejection. So it opens up a world for everybody, young people, older people, all of us. So that's how you can use your body as a pendulum anywhere, anytime, for anything. Make sense?
Yes, I love it. That's what I do. I will use it in the grocery store to say, all right, we have an $18 bottle of vitamins and a $15 bottle of vitamins. Which I need to know which one is going to be more available to my body, which will my body absorb better. Okay, and then I will put one down and say, is this one the better for my body right now? Yes, no. And I take the other one. Is this one the one that's better for my body right now? I have saved a lot of money on vitamins by when I fill the vitamin box up for each person in our family, because I'm a great believer in nutrition. I figure if you give your body what it needs, energy-wise, nutrition-wise, you're not going to end up taking as many drugs. But I will say, does whoever I'm filling their box need this week? Because they're week-long boxes. And yes, no. And do they need this one this week? Because sometimes your body needs more something one week and it's fine the next week. So and vitamin use it for. But can we talk about your book a little? Because it's just very, very clever. Do you want to hold it up, or shall I?
I can hold it up.
Okay.
I can't share my screen with this because I don't have, well, I do have some of the charts, but as you can see, they're all charts. And the first thing I do when I'm talking to a person, first of all, there's a body chart. If I take I don't know why I've got the paper clip on there. There's one that says what part of my body is suffering. I love that one. If I can find it, or maybe you can find that one faster than me. Yeah, here it is. It has the body in a circle. See the head all the way around the body in the middle section, the gut, which a lot of older people have trouble with, all the way around, because mine goes right here to my ankle, which I did a job on. But anyway, that will give you what is my biggest problem, because as you're older, you may have 5 problems in this body. And you want to know the one that you need to address now. So you would just go around the chart, and if it gets right here, you got to address this right now. You have a knee that's really bad and you just don't want to get a knee replacement, but your knee is screaming at you. And so this is where you need the attention now. Do I need a brace? Do I need to go and get a shot? Do I need to have a knee replacement? Ask all those questions. But the next chart is, I don't use this as much as I use this one, which I use all the time. This is a chart. Questions are right in front of here, so so I can see myself and see if you can see this. Oh yes, that's better, isn't it?
Well. Oh yeah.
Hold it to the light. See, I've got one of these really neat, very inexpensive little lights. Yeah. Just for zooming. I do an awful lot of zooming. Okay, so here you are. You've got the chart. Now, vitality, it's 0 to 100%. What is your vitality index? And I love this chart because, as you're older, your vitality might go down. But if you say, what is my vitality compared to another 80-year-old person, you might just find that your vitality is about 99% compared to your age group, which is interesting to try. And then what is my physical health level? And what is my psychological health level? So it's good to know, you know, the spiritual level and other levels are not on here, but you can add anything you want to find out how you're doing. Now, if your physical level is down in the 50 percentile, which a lot of people it is, then, you know, physically you can add, like she says, supplements. I usually have people do a cleanse to start, clean their system, and then start all over fresh. That's usually what I have people do health-wise because that works so well. And then if they come to you and they're really sick, here's one, and it says normal, ill, bedridden, very ill, seriously dying. I mean, which level? And if it's up here, very ill or serious, boy, they need to get help. And I do have a chart in here somewhere. Trying to get the light right. I have a chart in here somewhere, whereas if a person, I love this chart, it's a newer one I did as an afterthought in the very end. If you have a problem, who do you call? Do you call your doctor? Do you call your chiropractor? Do you call your acupuncturist? Do you get a massage? Do you call a psychic? Do you get soul retrieval? What is it that you need? So see, I love that chart because you think that you probably got to go to the chiropractor when all it is a muscle that is pulling so tight, trying to pull your back right out. And so you go and have a massage and that takes care of it. And it's probably cheaper too. So that's some of the things.
I think this is this the one that you're looking for?
Which of these? Probably. Yeah, hypotherapy. Yeah. Is it near the end of the book?
Yeah, I started flipping back till it looked right.
Yeah, it's near the end. I added some things at the end that
There's a lot of charts in here.
Yeah, there's many. And the neat thing, let me show you the pH one, because pH is something that a lot of people don't think about. You know, we take our vitamins, we do this and that, but pH is so important to if your pH is off just a little bit, you die. Your vitamins can be way off. You're not going to die.
Yeah.
Minerals can be a little off, but if they're way off, you're in trouble.
It's out of stock right now on Amazon. Is it going to be back in stock there, or do you know? Or
which?
Your book.
My book. I never did have it on
DVD.
Amazon, but if you go on my website, you can find it. Or,
Okay.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
put
you
up
can
her
contact
website.
me directly.
I'm going to put her
All right.
website into the
Okay,
chat.
thank you. Yeah, it's only a
Yeah.
DVD they're showing at Amazon.
Right.
But I do want to show you the pH because this is something that I am passionate about, making sure
Okay.
people understand pH. There's the pH chart.
Mhm.
Now, our pH should be about 6.8 to 7.2, which is normal.
Gotcha.
Most people run in the 5.5 to 6.8 range because of the modern American diet. And so what do we do to get it over into the normal? We've got to eat more alkaline food. What is your alkaline food? Well, you know, all your meats and all your breads and your pastas and half your vegetables and some of your fruits are all acid. So what's alkaline? Alfalfa is very alkaline. Calcium, very alkaline. So there are some things, your milk, however, is acid. So then I have a chart in here that tell you exactly what foods by category and all. I'll just read it. A acid alkaline food charts, all the alkaline fruits, apples, did you know that? Apricots, avocados, bananas, berries. Berries are the best thing you can put in your body. But the acid fruits, cranberries, pineapple, grapefruit, lemons, limes, pomegranates, and all your jellied, dried, or glazed, or dried foods are all acid. Alkaline vegetables, and it has a whole list of them. Then your acid vegetables, your alkaline dairy products, acidophilus culture, buttermilk, whey, fresh raw milk, yogurt, kefir, and clapper milk. Clappered. I forgot what that even was. Those, excuse me, are alkaline, but acid is your butter and your cheese, your cottage cheese, your cream, your sherbet, your custard, milk from any other than raw. Your raw milk, interesting, is alkaline. Your pasteurized, homogenized milk is acid. Now, when I had my family, I got raw milk, not because I knew this at the time, I didn't, but because I knew it was so much better, because homogenizing milk breaks down the fat. It breaks down the lecithin, and lecithin is necessary for brain function. No wonder everybody's getting senile as they get older. Brain function takes lecithin. We all should be taking lecithin for our brain. It's one of the things. There are 4 things for the brain, but that's one of them. And when you take your cheese and your milk and all that from pasteurized and homogenized milk, there you are. It destroys the lecithin. It causes it to be acid. So I love this chart. All this is in here. And then alkaline nuts, acid nuts. Did you know that some nuts are acid? So that's some of the charts in here. I particularly love that one. And I think the other ones I love, there's a whole section on allergies. And there's so many allergies to chemicals, allergies to fabric, allergies to materials in your building, allergies, the usual ones we think of: pollen, cats, dogs, dust. Then there's a whole range of allergies to food. Believe it or not, so many people have allergies to food. I had 5. I had no idea. I just felt worse when I ate than I did. And so I go a long time and then I overeat, totally overeat and gain weight.
Mhm.
So I found that if you want me to go a little bit on this, I will, or I cut it off. Do you want me to go a little longer on the food allergies?
Sure, that a lot of people have allergies, and of course some of them are you think you might think you have a wheat allergy, but what you have is an allergy to Roundup, which is put on the wheat and isn't there.
That's true too. That's
So-
true too.
So yeah, but
You can douse it and see.
you can douse. You can
Yeah.
douse it whether you know it's there or not. You can just say, is this going to harm me? And how much?
That's right. Yeah. So I was allergic to wheat. I was allergic to milk, corn, shellfish, and eggs. It's a lot of things. But you know, when I got one of those things out of my diet, all the other things went away. Which one do you think it was that I got out of my diet totally and still have it out of my diet? And now I can eat 4 of the other things. Maybe the 5th, I haven't dared try it. I should douse it. It was the wheat. For me, it was the wheat. And it might have been some of that stuff in the wheat. Wheat used to have 49% protein and now it's 9%. And what they've done to our wheat. But there's so many other wonderful grains that are just absolutely wonderful, like quinoa, even whole grain rice. And so there are other grains I don't suffer at all. But now I can eat eggs, I can eat shellfish, I can have milk products, and I can eat, what was the other one? I forgot.
Shellfish?
Shellfish, I think I mentioned that. Corn.
Corn.
So I
Those are
eat all
complex.
those things now, and I still stay off. And people say, well, you've healed your colon, you're probably all right. I don't care. It's out of my life. I know how sprayed it is, like chemicals on it. I just as soon keep it out of my life.
Corn syrup and everything.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, if you don't have the book and you are working with people, helping heal them, I think it would be a good addition. You can contact me directly if you want. I'll put my phone number in the chat. You can
And-
text me or whatever, and I can
And
send
when
it
it
direct.
gets, when
Either way.
When Lois posts this, I will put the, I can put the, your website in YouTube so that people can
Okay, that'd be
find it
good.
there.
Yeah.
Another
So
thing that I
that's
hadn't,
one way.
that
Yep.
it's just a funny story, and so I thought I wanted to share it. That another thing you can use dowsing for is to find to check your plumbing or studs or wiring. And we were once taking a wall down, and I have always been able to run my hand over a wall, and then I can feel, I don't know whether it's the density, the nails or what, but I can always tell where the studs are. And so when we're going to put up a shelf, I would always find the studs, and or if you're going to hang a lamp or whatever. Well,
That's
when
how
we were
stud
taking
finders
down the
do it,
wall, my
density.
husband was having fun going through the plaster and lathe. He put in his big heavy gloves, and he was just punching right through the wall. And I said, "Oh, that looks like fun. I want to try it." And he said, "Well, remember, you've got to picture it going all the way through. Otherwise, you're going to just stop at the wall." So I put it on. I pictured it going all the way through, and I went straight for the stud.
No.
I did not go all the way through that, but yes,
You're at your hand.
that is just something that I do, is I find studs in walls, whether I want to or not. But you can do that, but basically you have to remember to ask the question. That's why I like the book, because in the book, in the charts, Carol has given you lots of things you might not have thought of. You might say, is it my heart? Is it my liver? Is it my lungs? And you might not have thought of your pancreas. And so it's all, she's collected a lot of options that makes it, that helps a lot.
Yeah, we have all the systems of the body in here. So
Yeah.
skeletal, circulatory, there's that's a digestive system.
You can use it to connect to invisible beings, your guides, ghosts. If you are a medium, you might be able to see or hear ghosts. But if you're not a medium, but you would like to contact one, you can use dowsing to create an interaction with a ghost that or a spirit or a guide that you normally aren't sensitive enough to. Now you said, I believe your website said something about you removing annoying spirits. Is that something?
You talking to me? Yeah, I do that. That's what my new job is. She's really being harassed by entities. And I do a lot of that since I've been in Florida, house clearing and removing entities. And I have to laugh about the show, Ghostbusters. It's a cute show. And I think it brings awareness to the fact
can I get you to come back and we'll do an entire show
you
on
need
that?
to do a whole thing on this. You do.
Oh God, yes.
And you know what else you need to do? A whole thing on dowsing stories.
Because that is it seems to be a slightly different topic, but it's just very, very interesting.
It is. And
so we'll have you back. I will contact you and find out when you're available for that. Maybe in January sometime.
I just got to say one thing. Do you know what ghosts really are?
What?
I'm just saying that to put it on so people will come to your
She's
seminar.
teasing it for us.
Well, that's because there are so many things that we call ghosts.
Yeah.
The English language has too many words.
But that'll get people there because a lot of people are experiencing these things now, especially. And so you ought to find out what's going on.
Oh yes, and I wanted to mention cars. You can use it, not only can you go for your plumbing and wiring, you can use it in your car too. And if you can tell your mechanic where to look, that can save you $200.
Same with your doctor. If you tell your doctor, if you've had a dowser who picks up a certain thing, when my husband had a pancreatic attack and ended in the hospital and couldn't eat because as you have pancreas problems, you can't put anything through there. I said, did you check his gallbladder? He said, why would I want to do that? I said, well, because aren't they connected? He said, yeah, they are. I said, check his gallbladder. I said, I bet it's full of stones. I didn't even douse that. I just off my head. And he called me that afternoon. He said, your husband's had an operation. You were right. He was full of gallstones. And that
Another
went back up into the pancreas.
another
you see.
series of questions I think that it's important when you're dowsing. Once you have gotten a piece of information and you're creating you're creating a action plan in your head, the questions, can I, then may I, then should I, they're not the same question. And you should go through all of them. I'm going to say that again. Can I, may I, should I? Just because you may doesn't mean you should. Just because you can doesn't mean you may. So that's another thing. And these are, you can get yes, no answers to those, and that'll help. That'll help you not make dumb mistakes. But all right, I'm going to, we're getting close to the end. This is where I have to ask for questions or any last thoughts.
Well, I had my hand up.
Oh, right. I didn't look in that part of the.
Anyway, I have 2 or 3 or really short things here. One, congratulations, Chipicon. I have a stud finder in my toolbox, and it senses studs the same way you do by sensing the density of what's behind the plaster.
Oh.
The electronic circuits in it do literally exactly the same thing. Talk about food allergy. 20 odd years ago, when I was working at Adaptec, I came across the most cruel and unusual food allergy I could ever imagine. The guy in the next cube was an avid home brewer. He developed an allergy to barley, which I think is about as bad as it gets. And then acid alkaline balance in the body as a respiratory therapist. That was one of the things we always checked when we took blood samples. And it occurred to me that thinking about it, I am aware of more foods that are considered cautions because they're acid. Like, tomatoes being, I think, one of the top ones. And I don't know of any food that's alkaline that will eat a pot. But I also
There's
remember
alkaline
that
and what? I missed the last part.
Will eat
the
a pot.
acid. If you have an aluminum pot and you cook acid foods in it,
Okay.
and the last thought was that corn, all throughout the Americas, has traditionally, for like many, many hundreds of years, been treated in a process that I can't even pronounce it after much practice, this nixtamine, which is treating the corn with a strong alkali. And it makes it much more edible. So I see that although the body is terribly intolerant of imbalance, it does seem that the natural environment kind of favors us being a little more alkaline. So interesting stuff, all of that.
I think that's because most of your diseases or viruses or illnesses thrive in acid.
Well,
so that's why you don't want it too acid.
And it's interesting too, because I went through a round of minor surgical procedures, and before they did each one, they would inject a certain amount of lidocaine into the area they're going to stick this thing into me. And that hurt like hell. And it turns out lidocaine is naturally an acid. And if you buffer it with a little sodium bicarbonate, it doesn't hurt nearly as much. And that was my body. Yeah, really. So every time I went in, if they're going to, what they call it a lidocaine ring, which is they give you like 6 or 8 little injections to numb this area. It's about big around as a quarter, because you're going to cut a small slit in there and then poke a tube in. And if you ask them to buffer the lidocaine, they will introduce 10% bicarb. And, you know, they always have this pain scale, you know, on a 1 to 10. Without it, it could go from 6 to 8. With it, it was down in the 3 to 4 range. And that's a large difference in pain level. So anytime I remember, I don't know if I'll ever have that thing done again. I hope not. But if anybody wants to say we got to do a lidocaine ring here, I'll say, don't forget to buffer the juice. And again, that's this interesting acid-base balance thing.
Okay,
rather-
well, we're past 9 now. So
Okay.
I'm
Anybody
going
else?
to thank everybody and remind you that if you need to, the event announcement goes away after now. And so if you need to get the link to go to YouTube, copy this one down so that you can, if you want to go back and see if you got, did I get that right? No, I did not. I did not copy paste. So I got a pointless check on the YouTube, the Changing Times, Changing Worlds YouTube channel. I did. I just didn't show. Okay.
There
But
it is.
that's how to get to YouTube, where we all of these things go, and Carol's website, which is Dowsing dowsingwebinars.com. There you go. And so
Okay.
just copy them and jot them down, or you can hit, I believe the little dots can save the beside the chat, can save the chat for you, and it'll all be there for you, and then you can extract them at your leisure. But I'm going to turn it off. Thank Carol very much, and
Thank you,
thank
yes.
everybody who has come.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you all for coming.